is imperative that we acknowledge the events of August 4th, which have indelibly shaped our history and our identity. On that day, 127 years ago, in 1897, during the heyday of British colonialism, the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, ARPS, was formed at Cape Coast. This monumental event marked the beginning of a conscious and organized effort to preserve the rights of indigenous Ghanaians against the depredations of colonialism. The Aborigines Rights Protection Society laid the basis for the political awakening of our people, advocating for land rights and pushing back against the oppressive policies of the British colonial administration. Their courage and vision set the stage for future movements that will strive for greater autonomy and self-determination. The formation of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society was both a reaction to the immediate threats posed by colonialism and a proactive effort to ensure that the rights and dignity of our people were safeguarded. The Society's enlightened leaders, Jacob Say, Joseph Casely Hayford, John Mensah Saba, Kwabena Sechi, J.W. de Graaf Johnson, and J.P. Brown, amongst others, understood that the land was not merely a resource, but also the very essence of our identity and culture. They organized petitions, held meetings, and mobilized communities to resist the arbitrary appropriation of land by the greedy hands of British colonialism under the 1897 Crown Lands Bill, which led to its withdrawal. Unlike in the case of our brothers and sisters in Eastern and Southern Africa, whose deprivations continue till today, we never lost control of our lands because of the intervention of the Society. Their work was proof of the power of unity and collective action in the face of adversity. Fast forward to August the 4th, 1947, exactly 50 years later, another seminal event took place: the formation of the United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC, the convention at Salt Pond. This organization, spearheaded by illustrious forebears, marked a turning point in our quest for independence. The UGCC brought together a coalition of leaders who shared a common vision of a free and prosperous Ghana. Their efforts culminated in the eventual birth of Blay, Emmanuel Obeche-Bilamte, William Ufuriata, Edward Akufo-Addo, Ebenezer Akwaje, Kwabena Kese, Kwame Nkrumah, and others, recognized that true freedom could only be achieved through political action and the mobilization of the masses. They worked tirelessly to educate and inspire the people, organizing rallies and meetings to raise awareness about the need for independence. Their message resonated with Ghanaians from all walks of life, sparking a movement that would eventually lead to the liberation of our nation, encompassing the birth of the Convention People's Party, CPP, which led us on the final lap of our journey to freedom. Tomorrow, as we commemorate these historic milestones, we pay tribute to successive generations of Ghanaians who contributed to the attainment of our national independence. It is most appropriate that we have chosen this date to honor their sacrifices, their resilience, and their strong dedication to the ideals of freedom and justice. I speak to you this evening, rejecting completely the notion that Ghana was founded by one man. Whilst Kwame Nkrumah's contributions to our independence are undeniable and unassailable, it is important to acknowledge for our self-respect that the struggle for our nation's freedom was a collective effort spanning several generations. The formation of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, the British West African National Congress, jointly sponsored by Joseph Casely Hayford and Thomas Hutton Mills, the United Gold Coast Convention, the work of countless unsung heroes, and the tenacious spirit of our people all played vital parts in bringing us to freedom and independence. Kwame Nkrumah, with his charismatic visionary leadership, was undoubtedly a major actor in the final lap of our journey to independence. And that is why, despite the several unfortunate things that happened after independence under his watch, Parliament in 2019 decided to memorialize his date of birth as Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day, the only Ghanaian so far to be so honored in our history. His ability to galvanize the masses and articulate a clear vision for a free Ghana inspired many. However, it is essential to recognize that Kwame Nkrumah stood on the shoulders of past leaders. The groundwork laid by the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, the British West African National Congress, the United Gold Coast Convention, and many other organizations and individuals provided the foundation upon which Kwame Nkrumah built the Convention People's Party, CPP. And indeed, that is why he was careful to associate the name of his new party with that of the convention. The contributions of the leaders before him were instrumental, as is natural in the continuum of history, in shaping the political landscape that facilitated Kwame Nkrumah's rise to prominence. Even though comparisons may be invidious, it is worth recalling that George Washington, the victorious general of America's War of Independence from British colonial rule, and the first president of the United States of America, is not described as the founder of the United States. The accolade of the founding fathers is reserved to the group of 56 persons who assembled at the Philadelphia Convention of the Continental Congress to write and promulgate the Constitution of the United States of America. August 4th is a day that should remind us of the values that have guided us through the years: respect for the rule of law, observance of human rights, including individual freedom, and the pursuit of a free democratic society. These values are a reflection of the vision of those who founded the Ghanaian nation and have been crucial in shaping our national character. The sacrifices of our forebears have given us the open society we enjoy today. We are a democratic nation, governed on the basis of the separation of powers by the rule of law and respect for human rights. The Fourth Republic has proven to be the most enduring because it is the republic, above all, that arguably has given the fullest expression to the aspirations of the men and women who gathered in Salt Pond on that faithful day in 1947. In recent times, after the predictable initial turbulent decades of our post-independence checkered history, we've witnessed great changes in Ghana. Our economy has grown, our infrastructure has improved, and our society has become more inclusive. We've made impressive strides in governance, education, healthcare, and technology, and we continue to build on the foundation.
Yes, no, Mike. Ghana abakwese mu no. On mine and Kana bakwese mu hu see what be a friend a big sis. Near Tiane say 28 February shooting 1948 shooting no a yekum sergeant ajete mu a ye kan ho asem sisia no abrofo no hu se mpanimfo bi na organize wo mu a sa trouble no ebae indeed Nkrumah ne nadamfo akoagye ana omu kwampoa no ho Debbie Avenue ho kosia sa sojafo ne yede wo mu aba no omu life ya awere ho pa ya ma wo mu esgracia ya ma wo mu hwe edura yumro mu tete wo no mensasa no omu organize so omu nkwaje wo mu esgracia ene yeshutu wo mu na sa letter no petition no omu de ekon sojani ba akona Nkrumah mani butu yese Nkrumah ne akoagye so nkoa ana ko organize wo UGC mpanifo no enka ho na nam sa akoagye ye lawyer no ono dictate legal term ne de tro petition no ana Kwame Nkrumah so de nensa tro the writing pad no ema Nkrumah no ono tro ye to wo mu wie ye no a wo mu de kwa ade a che problem no ekobae ye hwe letter no ehu say the general secretary of UGCC Kwame Nkrumah ne handwriting ene was sadia ene na UGCC for penimfo no ene techire ene ye shas say ye chichi won the background no what go outside the country RS Blair was second okodwane ye hu no Awuno Williams odwane ye hu no ana omuhu sa nipa ensia we Nkrumah obeche bilamte edu de Kufuado ye fa ne say Kwame Nkrumah mabonidi akwa JB Dankwa and you for Riata send you pensy the following day and a colonial newspaper be a reported big 6 leaders of UGCC arrested until leaders in Sia Yenyan and a say big 6 leaders of UGCC arrested no penny pano or no ne par grant until see our big 6 were Ghana and Kaba started a fee par grant so and no omu police interrogation omu nyina kasa omu nim hohwe ampa so no omu nim hohwe nti na ba Nkrumah ne akoagye no ono so suro so obeda prison nti ono so ka say onim hohwe ana Nkrumah ka say ono do onim ho bibi nti ye jai opia ne do ono koto prison wo asiri eno na oba na tare white no na adani tuntum esremni ordinary person bi edeni wura ne fie no yi batakari ma ne se onyi white shirt ne ntumu no nhye sa batakari no de je independence no nti any big success in the history of Ghana esa bo se ho
ago wanyo ko mare makasa kakra enzi wanyo ko mne wentiam kakra men kasapi dama bare makade mbakan do kakra na miwe makan fancy at long last the battle has ended. And thus, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. And here again, I want to take the opportunity to thank the chiefs and people of this country, the youth, the farmers, the women, who have so nobly fought and won this battle. Also, I want to thank the valiant ex-servicemen who have so cooperated with me in this mighty task of freeing our country from foreign rule and imperialism. And as I pointed out at our party conference at Sorbonne, I made it quite clear that from now on today, we are waking, we shall no more go back to sleep anymore. Today, from now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle, and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. We are going to demonstrate to the world, to the other nations, young as we are, that we are prepared to lay our own foundation. As I said in the assembly just minutes ago, I made it point that we are going to say that we create our own African personality and identity. It's the only way in which we can show the world that we are ready for our own battle.
I am telling us, as I remember the Osagie for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, that now, as you turn in your grave, if you had been alive, you'd possibly be 107 years today. But you are people, some of them, in their lack of wisdom, chose to remove you from power. I apologize on their behalf. They gave you only a few years to be present in this world. And during those few years that you are present in this world, you shook not only Ghana, but Africa so very fundamentally that although your mortal remains were interred, your spirit is alive and well. And it's that spirit that occupies our minds and hearts today as we remind ourselves that the only way in which Africa will realize our potential is through the path of unity. I know as you lie in your grave, great Osagiefo, there is a sense in which, in a manner so completely invisible to us, you are turning uncomfortably and weeping uncontrollably because your continent is bleeding. It is bleeding in every corner. In our heart, in the Congo, she bleeds. That country that is so rich is yet the poorest nation in Africa. But it does not stop bleeding only in the Congo. It also bleeds in our horn in Somalia. That country which could be very rich is only famous for the wrong things.
Do you think you can represent all of Africa?
Me represent Africa is too big for me. I'm only trying to throw out ideas. And so it's only the ideas and principles which I believe in, which I think will be the ultimate help the continent, is what I'm trying to put forward. And if the ideas and principles which I put forward is taken by the great majority of the people, then I think I've done my duty.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our job, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
If you reach a certain stage in life and there is nobody who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth, you are doomed. And that is where our country has gotten to. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. And I feel very terrible as a Ghanaian at this time. This country is in serious trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We are in serious trouble. We need to rescue this country, ladies and gentlemen. The presidency has been so depraved, so muddied, so dirty, that I tell you in all sincerity as a Ghanaian, that I feel terribly sad today as a Ghanaian. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. Inshallah.
Please don't cry.
We shall rescue our country.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Right, hello, good morning and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Wednesday, the 7th day of August, 2024. By His grace, we're live and we're here. We're yet another edition of the show. Our gratitude to go to Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making around here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. Economic growth favors the rich. ESET demands income redistribution. Resist photocopying of Ghana card for transactions. Margins Group CEO. Graphic. WFP hold technical stakeholders breakfast meeting today. The Ghanaian Times. At Maiden Town Hall meeting in Accra, government touts economy's recovery. Says despite challenges, economy grows by 20%. There are a lot of interesting things happening in this country. Recruitment into the security services. It has been advertised. It has been advertised. Daily Guide. National security justifies 6 million cedis Boku budget. Our preserved traditions and customs. Baomia. 3 HARC bishops jailed for contempt. Nana calls for Gulf of Guinea Commission review. 450 SMEs get U-Start support. Was U-Start the one that was supposed to provide 1 million, 1.5 million jobs? I think that one. And then E-Levy was supposed to provide 10 million jobs. The New Crusading Guide. Government drives economic prosperity through GEA. So, Ministry of Trade and Industry and Ministry of Finance grant initiative. Government accounts to Ghanaians showcasing massive infrastructural development. Elembele DC presents scholarships to first batch of beneficiaries. Guta AGI confident in amended GSA law. FedTech Kakraba chief secures court order for possession of over 5,800 acres of land. National security exposes Mahama Yariga for politicizing Boku conflict. The Insight. Nkrumah is sole founder of Ghana. Professor Raymond Atuguba clears air as he rubbishes Big Six limbs. Vote for truth on 7 December. John Mahama urges Ghanaians. Whitewashing Ghana's history with Founders Day. Okay, so this is the apostrophe after the S. Won't work. CPP to President Akufo-Addo. We're committed to academic excellence. Belmont International School assures public at 10th anniversary celebration. Oda and Toe family fumes over perpetual injunction on their lands. The Herald. Convicted criminal and inflated invoice uncovered in 307 ambulance purchase. Government bloated ambulance costs $29 million US. Minority alleges. Niamak Bejelov, Osu 6 meeting with Donald Trump. National security reacts to 6 million cedis every 3 months of Boko crisis. Public Accounts Committee Chairman asked to probe GRA bosses starter deal. The Informer. Towards election 2024, stop attacks on EC and others. Political parties advised. Witchcraft accusation, 6 cage for torturing woman, 61. Disinformation undermines national security, Bevlo. Ensuring effective decentralized governance. Let's build systems, not parties, expert. At 7th Ghana Insurance Awards, Serene Insurance sweeps 4 awards. Congratulations, congratulations. Congratulations to all the guys at Serene Insurance. Well done. The Inquisitor. Questions on DRIP. Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development, Direct Minority, seek answers from District Assembly Common Fund and Chief of Staff. NAPO perfectly blending politics with royal duties. Some NPP accuses Obuafo of causing commotion. Or Obuafo. My expose saved Ghana $1.3 billion. A black one. Patrick Buama donates to Abekan Royal Palace ahead of Omowo Festival. The Daily Statesman, 1.5 billion cedis to pay Black Shield customers. Finance Minister cautions against bad investment decisions. Samira, December elections about Ghana's development. Former Ejisu MP returns to NPP. Guta AGI confident in amended GSA law. The Daily Searchlight. Dangerous diatribe. Mahama politicizes Boko conflict. Striking college teachers to call off strike if government embarks on town hall meetings. University of Cape Coast Vice Chancellor's impasse resolved. Dr. Educhum prays for promoting STEM education in Ghana. NPP to launch 2024 manifesto. The Ghanaian publisher. Government disbursed 175 million cedis to MSMSEs. Fremont Paris. Herbert Krapato's Abuazi Enclave. Guta AGI Lord Parliament over GSA law. Akufo-Addo grows economy by $20 billion. Finance Minister. The Accra Times. The Ijapadia document. Mahama throws Akufo-Addo's denial into the gutters. Urges Ghanaian youth to help NDC send NPP packing on December 7. Ghana, the most stable democracy in West Africa. Bagbin tells investors. Call for action. Speaker Bagbin establishes ad hoc committee on the circumstances leading to the spillage of excess water from the Akosombo Dam. Retooling Achimota Police Station is my priority. Jenapo assures the Black West Committee. The Custodian. NDC's propaganda on the Ijapadia exposed. Government accounts to Ghanaians with massive projects. Expenditure on Boko conflicts. National Security Ministry explains. Guta AGI confident in new Sheepers law. And that's about it. For the front pages, we'll be back shortly.
Pascal's showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that the wells can store many, many messages. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded your contact center yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
Kel 360 did the way. It's cool mint, gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see feeling when you know Kel 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Kel 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
In today's modern world, Stairs are a challenge, especially for our elderly and those with health concerns. Navigating them can be difficult and even dangerous, but there's a safer way to move vertically. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, your answer to a more accessible and secure vertical transportation. Our elevators and escalators, including top-of-the-line pneumatic vacuum elevators, Fuji elevators and escalators, offer a safer and more convenient alternative, eliminating the risks of stairs and enhancing accessibility for homes, businesses, and hospitals. Choose safety and convenience with Lifts and Elevators Limited Company. Elevate your spaces today. For more information, visit our website at www.elevatorsgh.org or call now on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, the elevator people.
Customer, I don't know who to say.
Malaria been actually me, man. No more man, still.
One of them give us.
Give us a solid.
Yeah, sorry. What lost so give us here and don't come down.
What's over that song? But tomato give us the and some down.
Give us a bad mixture.
The patron and some down.
Customer. Give us that tonto now. Pa.
Onuya kayo oba wa fa furo nom de o ma no banu fo nom akwada wa ni fie dumie no ono nso nom.
Bet Blast Boom! Exclusively on Betway. Win up to 300% more when you play FlyX with Win Boost from Betway. Betway, get way more.
Papa is working.
Bar Herbal Hospital. Specialists in every kind of bone disease.
Bar Herbal Hospital. Baby, a saga with beer. Nanso, yare timi sapa dompemu yare.
Spinal cord, swelling of the arms, arthritis, bone injury, swelling of the leg with reddish color around it, and so on. See, Bar Herbal Hospital has special ultra-modern machine for checking up the body. I have tried them and I got good results. Try Bar Herbal Hospital.
I'm in a grief. Yeah, and now you were back in Greece. To say why you fit a millionaire. Yes, the luckiest at Nkrumah. To say about from Massa Echema. Yeah. Now check this. Sister Abna, aka Kogi Hima. The luckiest at Nkrumah. Queen B.
Yeah.
Boss lady back up there. Let's go. Hold on to your seats, folks. Such anyway, it'll be you smooth. Way and your friend will upgrade. Luckiest at Nkrumah. And the best part, that with the luckiest, Obia or a shot to a good life. And I'm talking to you, me, your girlfriend, your ex, your neighbors, your landlords, and even Goro boys. And no one is over dialing with lucky number. Star 712 hash. No.
Oswald ticket to win in the community draw or the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV. And I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly. But I have some good news for you. And I'll start off with one on Microsoft 365. It says, whether you're an SME, startup, large enterprise, or educational institution, Microsoft 365 Education, Business, and Enterprise are the cutting-edge solutions you need to streamline operations and enhance educational capabilities, from top-notch email services to dynamic CRM tools and collaborative platforms. MTN has got you covered. Sign up to any MTN Business Microsoft solution and unlock exclusive access to additional services like WebWiz and Business Messenger, all at unbeatable prices. It's a complete digital transformation package tailored to fuel your success. Email mtn@mtnbusiness.gh@mtn.com or WhatsApp or call 0244308111 to explore how MTN can empower your business. Hashtag let's get business done better. And if you're thinking of getting that toothpaste that will take care of your entire family and save you some money, the recommended family toothpaste is KEL 360 toothpaste. It's approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. KEL 360 toothpaste provides you and your family with all-round dental protection throughout the day with freshness. KEL 360 toothpaste is good for kids, children, and adults. Let your family be a proud family when they step out by constantly using KEL 360 toothpaste. KEL 360 toothpaste your teeth, prevents cavity, and with its cool mint gives you fresh breath throughout the day and protects the gum from decaying. For consistency and quality, use KEL 360 toothpaste. It's another product from Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasu, and is available in all supermarkets, malls, and provision shops. Call Samara Company on 0246 864798. KEL 360 toothpaste, happy smile. And enjoying the fruits of your labor is as important as enjoying the mansions of your labor. The pains of climbing the stairs when not exercising could be challenging irrespective of your age, but worry no more. Lifts and elevators have got you covered with the best portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators on the market today. It's a simple self-supported elevator for both homes and offices, and guess what? It can lift your goods too. Wheelchairs can fit in, and they come in 3 custom-made models. It's affordable and can be installed within 3 days. Visit Lift and Elevators at Sakumon or just call them on 0200-535-515 or send a mail to elevatorsgh@gmail.com for consultations and the best solutions in easy vertical movements. Okay, so with me on the show this morning, I have Kwesi Pratt Jr. as the managing editor of the Inside newspaper. Kwesi, good morning. Good morning. Also with me on the show is Erica Mwakuchum, who is a member of the Baumia 2024 campaign team. He's also a government spokesperson. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Randy.
Kwesi, will this apostrophe nonsense ever stop?
But Randy, it has to stop. You know, I'm really amazed, you know, that a debate like this will be started at this time, you know, of our national life, when everything is going haywire. And I was wondering what the president was seeking to profit, you know, from starting such a needless, you know, debate. Right now, what is the point? Nkrumah was not the founder of Ghana, and so what? How does that affect the rate of inflation? How does that affect escalating prices? How does that affect anything? And to think that it is the president who initiates this debate is extremely worrying. You know, there's so many things that the president should focus on. And rather than focus on those things, his focus is on who is the founder of Ghana. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, these matters have been settled by the historical record. They've been settled by our practice. They've been settled everywhere. So why ignite this debate? You know, what is the basis of this? And this whole argument that, you know, Nkrumah is not the only founder, no nation can be founded by one person and so on. By extension, where would it end? Are we going back to the Aborigines Rights Protection Society? Are we going back to the heroes and sheroes who fought against the transatlantic slave trade? Are we back to the days of Yah when she fought to preserve slave routes to Ashanti and so on. Where does it end? Where does it stop? If everybody who made a contribution to the national independence struggle is going to be recognized, where would it stop? Understand? In any case, it is significant that when you talk about the Big Six, it excludes park grants. That exclusion is lost on the president. Understand? This Big Six, why is park grant in the Big Six? The original promoter of the United Gold Coast Convention is missing from the Big Six. And yet he finds nothing wrong with that. And then in any case, the historical record teaches us that this whole concept of the Big Six is a testimony to the intelligence failure of the British colonialists. Their intelligence collapsed completely because all of them, except Nkrumah, denied involvement in the routes that led to their arrest. All of them. And indeed, if their denials are true, then there was a huge intelligence failure on the part of the British. And the Big Six ought to be a celebration of the intelligence failure of the colonial administration at that time. I think this whole debate is completely meaningless, useless, and we should stop it. A reference to the degrading. So to downgrade that is to show gross disrespect for a fight for national sovereignty, for a fight for national independence, and actually to devalue our Republican
So Kwesi, for those who perhaps don't appreciate this point that you're making, we all know that we gained independence on 6 March 1957. Now you're saying that the event of 1st July 1960 is what really finished the deal about independence for us.
Yeah.
So what was happening between 57 and 1960?
Between 1957 and 1960, the Queen of England, was still the head of state of Ghana. Was still the head of state of Ghana. And like today, in Canada, the King of England is still the head of state. So the sovereignty is not fully established. What happened in 1957, 6 March 1957, was that we gained some partial independence which enabled us to take control of our administrative governance machinery. That's all. In fact, the process started from 1951. In 1951, Kwame Nkrumah became leader of government business. But in 1951, for example, we had no control over our ministries of finance, defense, and foreign affairs. Those portfolios were reserved for the colonial administration. Okay. In 1951, you still had a colonial governor who was stationed in the Christiansborg castles, who was virtually the head of state. In 1957, we went a step further. Nkrumah became prime minister, of the republic, and were responsible. We had a lot more responsibility in terms of running the governance structure of the country and so on. It was on 1st July 1960 that we truly became a republic and could have a president and all the things that come, with the republican status. So, July 1, 1960 is an essential part of the movement towards full independence. That's when we gain our full
So when did we start singing?
I can't give you the exact date, but that was during the colonial era, when the Queen actually, when the British colonialists firmly established their domination over our politics, over our economics, and virtually, they were in charge, But 1951 is important, 1957 is important, and 1960 is most important. I mean, you cannot claim that you actually support independence for the country. You cannot claim that you value an independence if you downgrade July 1st, 1960.
You have this interesting view, and that view is that you find the issue of the different republics as, for want of a milder expression, as rubbish. And that you think that there's one and only one republic. irrespective of the overthrow of constitutions and all that. But you believe that there is only one. You only become a republic once, and that's the end of the matter. Because coup d'etats don't send you back into colonial rule.
That's absolutely true. We gained our republican status on 1st July 1960, and that status has never changed. Even under military regimes, we were still a republic. So we have only one republic. All these things about second republic and so on was also part of the attempt to devalue the republican status we obtained on 1st July 1960. Otherwise, we've had only one republic. It has never changed. You know, I mean, when Kotuka and others, with the support of the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America, seized power in 1960, Ghana did not cease to become a republic. Ghana did not cease to become a republic when, under some circumstances, you know, Buzia was elected as prime minister. It did not cease to be a republic when General Champon took over. Ghana has been a republic from 1st July 1960, and that status has never changed. We have only one republic. We don't have a fourth republic, we don't have a third republic. It's all just...
So a point you make is that even when the constitution is overthrown, I'm trying to understand you, even if the constitution is overthrown by a coup d'etat, and we don't lose our republican status, because incidentally, the leaders of the coup themselves are called the head of state of the Republic of Ghana. Exactly. That's the title.
Exactly.
Okay. So that if in restoring democracy, we even have a new constitution, it could still be the 1960 constitution. It could still be the 79 constitution. It could still be the 92 constitution. But that must not lead to a new republic.
Our republican status, which we gained in 1960, is reflected in all the constitutions we have adopted. All of them. None of them attempts to take away the republican status. No coup regime has devalued our republican status. We've been a republic from 1960. We have remained a republic up to today. In fact, the coup leaders themselves assumed the position of head of state.
Of the president. Republic of Ghana.
Exactly. You cannot be, you know, has never...
If you like, entrenched views on some of these matters. And I agree that we'll probably never come to a certain compromise as to the real definition of founders and founder. And even the history itself will tell you that there can always be various schools of thought in terms of how these things happen. For example, the president holds a position that our struggle for independence predates the former president Kwame Nkrumah, and that there were a lot of people who played significant roles in our quest for independence. And he believes that, and he believes that these persons, some who we know, some who are actually unsung heroes, who we don't know, should be celebrated. And so if you look at it from that perspective, I don't see anything really wrong with that. The challenge is that anytime this conversation has cropped up, you have a certain sense that another group of people feel that it's an attempt to undermine or devalue the contribution of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. But I don't get that sense. I mean, in this country, we actually have a whole day that is actually set aside as Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's birthday to celebrate the man because of the fact that he led the fight for us to eventually become an independent nation. The first country in Sub-Saharan Africa to become independent. And so I don't quite get the challenge with making sure that even as a country, we are celebrating our heroes. We have a certain concept of instilling or imbibing patriotism and a certain sense of service to this country, and people who have contributed over the period should be celebrated. It's the absolute, extreme. It's extreme.
A little difficulty. I want you to help me with that. Okay. So we talk about founders with a belief that, with apostrophe at the end, in the belief, in fact, not the belief, the fact, that the struggle for independence started way long, before Kwame Nkrumah led it at the point that he led it. Okay. However, when we speak about Founders Day, the images you see are images of the Big Six. And that is where I begin to ask myself whether it is not to supplant something. Because that's what I see. If you go to the redecorated mausoleum today, you would see, I haven't been there, so I don't know if, for example, Park Grant is there. No, I'm saying, I've not been there, so I don't know. What I know is that it's still the same Big Six, like the adding of the other 5.
They've even removed that after public protest.
Okay. So initially, that was it. If you see the images, it's about the 6 persons. Then, interestingly, we are told that, it is in recognition of the fact that the thing started perhaps even a century before Nkrumah came to lead it and all that. Yet, any time that Founders Day is done, what we see from the optics, from the optical point of view, is images of some 6 persons depicting these 6 as the founders. So I ask myself, and I mean, with the greatest respect to everybody, and I don't intend to offend anybody. I, for example, ask myself, why will I find William Oforiatta and not find Park Grant? What is it about the contribution of some of those people that surpass some of those people that I have read about in our history? That if indeed this thing was meant to correct something, some historical mistakes that have been made, that it is rather being used to tell, is being used in a subtle manner to tell a particular story.
Randy, just a little more. I mean, not just Park Grant. Nick Obnaboni, where is he? When we are celebrating 4th of August, where is Nick Obnaboni? Where is Sergeant Ajete? Where is Corporal Atipo? You know, where are all those people? Where do you find Yas Antoine in that Big Six as well? It's just...
No, right. So I think that, I mean...
So why the 6?
Yeah,
why
so I think that these concerns are valid in terms of really expanding the scope of people. But even that, I mean, the list probably would be endless because, like I indicated earlier, there are people who are on stand heroes.
So my question really is, why the 6?
No, but
why those 6 personalities?
I feel why? So those 6 personalities, I mean, since I was a child, you actually even see these 6 personalities on our legal tender, and it's been highlighted over a period.
Yeah, but growing up, I begin to ask myself,
why?
What is it that each of them, I know what Nkrumah did, I know what some of them did. I mean, what is it that, for instance, if we say that if we include all these people, we might get into a realm of absurdity. Exactly. I agree. Yeah. I agree. But if we don't want to get to the realm of absurdity, and we think that there are particular people who play towering roles, for which reason, if we want to even put 6 people, we should have them. Why these 6?
No, but that's what I'm saying. So that conversation, again, I think that is also significant that we appreciate that there's a lot of healing that needs to be done in this country. Sometimes I feel that people are like that and take extreme positions because of things that happen and they were even victims of, right? So it goes beyond even the politics of it and now becomes social, it becomes things that has family ties, things that have even religious, if you want to put it that way, and personal circumstances that pertained at the time. So for example, even if you ask a question about these Big 6, I think it became very significant because these Big 6 were people who were actually apprehended and put in prison by the colonial masters.
Some had gone visiting some people.
Exactly. Right, and that's all the accounts of someone, for example, Akwaje, for example, who had some interaction with Kwame Nkrumah, decided that, listen, let's bring in this young man who he had actually identified to come in and help the UGCC as a general secretary and even wrote a letter and all of those things. And the UGCC at the time, with all some of these people, facilitated Nkrumah's return to Ghana to start the struggle. So and that's what I'm saying, that it's very difficult to convince someone who has held a certain position for a very long time, especially when it dovetails into a conversation around ideology, around this whole conversation around independence now, or independence in the shortest possible time, and all the things that pertain there. So it's almost as if that we are mixing a whole bunch of things, and whether you like it or not, like I've always used this example here. I mean, I grew up in a home that, I wasn't around when Nkrumah was president, right? I grew up in a home where my dad and his brothers didn't have anything positive to say about Kwame Nkrumah because of personal experiences, right? And it would shape. So apart from the things
that would be about in analyzing or evaluating maybe Nkrumah's leadership, his presidency.
Yes.
They can have that view.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the issue of founders and those things, for me, it's not about what you think about a person. It's about facts.
Yeah, but
historical records.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
whether
saying.
you like the person or not,
Randy,
nobody can take away the fact that Jerry John Rawlings was president in the Fourth Republic from period A to period B. Whether you like him or you loathe him, that fact,
it's there. Right. I mean, Randy, that's what I'm saying, that it's all about also sometimes respecting people's views and opinions on some of these things. And so for one person, they feel that, listen, these persons or everybody that played some role, either known or unknown, should have some significance.
I'm telling you that's why I told you
now,
that
there's also
I'm prepared.
I'm
prepared to even accept. You see, because I look around Africa. I don't even want to go beyond that. I look around Africa. The people who are celebrated as the founders of some of those African countries, they didn't start the independence struggle in their respective countries. They didn't. So whether you are going to Kenya or you are going to Tanzania or you are going anywhere, those who are celebrated and are everybody agrees that they are the founders, they didn't start the independence struggle.
But you see, Randy.
So if you want to talk about the fact that the struggle started from somewhere, people know that.
Randy,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People know that. So if we even come to even policies in this country, and I decide to, let me even use two policies in Ghana. Health insurance, free senior secondary school. In one form or the other, it was started by some other people. But there's a certain recognition that, look, somebody maybe did it differently or did this and did that. And those people would want to be seen as those who spearheaded it. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yes.
No,
Randy, okay.
Even before then, I mean, this whole notion that Akwaje recommended Nkrumah and that they brought Nkrumah to participate or to join the struggle, it's not true, cannot be true. By 1947, when the UGCC...
to join the UGCC.
Yes, but not to start the independence struggle, because he was already keenly involved in the struggle for national independence. In fact, as a matter of fact, his involvement in the struggle for national independence predates the involvement of many of the members, the leading members of the UGCC.
But that was more of a continental thing.
Yes, but it was struggle for independence. As a matter of fact, he was the secretary to the 5th Pan-African Congress in Manchester, 1945. 2 years before the UGCC was established. Go and read the resolution he drafted and put before the Pan-African Congress for adoption. Before then, before 1945, he had been keenly involved in the West African Students' Union, which was campaigning for the independence of the whole of West Africa and so on. So to create the impression that it was an invitation from the UGCC which brought him into the struggle.
Randy, I guess
the point is making is that Nkrumah was there doing his thing in England.
Struggling for national independence.
Yes, in England.
Yes.
Now, some two Ghanaians
even before England, in the United States.
Yes. The history of his struggle for the independence of Africa is there. It predates the UGCC. We all know that. But the events leading to...
They wrote to him requesting for him to come and become General Secretary of the UGCC. He was already involved in the struggle. So his participation in the struggle was not facilitated by Pa Grant, Akwaje, and others.
No, he's coming to Ghana to become General Secretary of the UGCC. Was facilitated.
I will not contest that.
Right.
But one is extended to imply that he's involved in the struggle.
But for that, he would not have been involved.
Exactly.
Okay.
He was already involved at much higher levels than those in the UGCC. Then there's another point, a very controversial point, but I'll make it. For the purposes of setting the record straight.
Well, you can see I was taking my time.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you back.
That's okay. That's okay.
I think this point has to be made. We have a president whose father himself was a participant in the struggle for national independence. And many things that happened thereafter and within that struggle. You have the president's father serving as a judge in a trial of persons who were accused of subversion. He, Justice Van Lai, and Justice Akukosa sat in the trials of Obechebi Lamte. Go and read the verdict, written by Judge Akufo-Addo, Justice Akufo-Addo, in which they described Obechebi Lamte, not me, they described Obechebi Lamte as a terrorist. Okay? How do we build a nation and decide that a terrorist is his founder?
But if
that's the definition of Akufo-Addo's
that might be.
I'm not the one.
That might be an unfair comment.
Why?
Because you see,
did I write that?
No, hold on. Hold on. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Even Dr. Kwame Nkrumah could have become a terrorist.
He didn't.
No, that's a fact. I'm saying he could have become whatever. That won't take away the fact that he led us to independence.
But you would feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, but it still won't change the fact.
Well, I feel that discomfort.
But you see,
you understand? I feel that discomfort.
So, Randy, I think that, like I said, based on some of the comments and all the things, the commentary and everything, it looks like there still needs a lot of work when it comes to healing this country and people who still feel very aggrieved and peeved by certain instances in our history. Now, for historical antecedents, these things happen everywhere. Even this whole conversation around liberation and people who are seen as liberators are also viewed in the eyes of other people as terrorists. There are organizations and persons who had actually been put on global terrorist watch lists because they're trying to liberate their people, right? And that's why, for me, I always take it as almost like a middle ground position. Even someone like Nelson Mandela was put into prison for actually treasonable charges because apparently there was a law, which was an apartheid law, that suggests that Mandela's attempt to liberate his own people was seen as an affront to a certain law. You understand what I'm saying? Today, Mandela is being celebrated everywhere as a hero of freedom, a freedom fighter. Same to people like Mugabe and all of those things, right? And so for me, I think that as a people, we need to take some lessons from some of these happenings over the last century or so in terms of people who have contributed to the development of this country and even our independence. There are other things. For me, you cannot, for example, say that all the things that are said about Kwame Nkrumah, either positive or negative, should stand. And when people are also trying to either highlight or project the contribution of other people, that same person decides that they don't want to appreciate that. And that is where I think that the extreme opinions and mindset actually comes from. Because as far as we're concerned, I mean, I was reading this thing about even J.B. Duncan's contribution for the setting of University of Ghana, for example. And some people feel that, oh, it is not important and even want to discount that. But there are clear documents that suggest that at a point, the British colonial authorities were thinking about setting up a university in the West African sub-region, and were thinking of Ibadan. And J.B. Dankwa actually debated and actually asked that it should come to Ghana. These are clear contributions. There are so many other people. This whole conversation around power grants and all the other personalities that Ako Kosa, I mean, all of these people that Kwesi has mentioned, are things, for me, I think that is something that we've also lost, I mean, or mistakes that we have made in terms of even how we curate some of these events and how this history is also told. Because, like I keep saying, as an O-level
opportunity to do what perhaps is right, just to go by what you're saying, then what we do is to recreate history with the images of some 6 particular
but
people.
That
and for my children to be able to read about those 6 people and the fact that they were pivotal in the fight for independence and not have the opportunity of reading about all those stalwarts. Why would any government want to subject me to that?
I share that sentiment in terms of basically widening the scope and having this conversation in a proper way, devoid of the sentiment. Otherwise, you see, the moment you go into this whole issues to do with sentiments, for example, there are people who have never forgiven Kwame Nkrumah from being the leader. It does not take away from him to use that to justify those actions. But the truth of the matter is that if you are affected, if you are somebody who's been impacted negative, and we can even extend this conversation, you mentioned Rawlings, right? We can even extend this conversation to people who, for one reason or the other, were victims of a so-called revolution, who up to today will not be able to forgive people who perpetrated these things. You understand what I'm saying? So I believe strongly that as a country, we have to get to the point where we would, take a cue from President Kufuor, for example, and go back to this whole conversation around reconciliation and all that. Because in one breath, you say somebody wants to rewrite the history. In another breath, we want to also undermine or underestimate the contributions of other persons. You cannot do that concurrently. We need to find almost a middle ground and say that as a people, there are positives, there are things that we can take from these persons who dedicated their lives to the development of this country. However, in terms of the excesses, in terms of the negativity that actually ensued in doing that, let's eschew these things and move on as a people. For me, listen, Randy, I've been traveling around the country, right? And for somebody that has been doing this thing for a while, you go to a certain place, and I'm thinking there are places in this country where maybe if my great-grandfather woke up and came, there probably have not been any proper development, or there hasn't been any significant changes in the lives of these people. And for me, I think that it's significant. You know, so even for us as a government, we will tout our achievements, other governments will tout their achievements and everything. But you leave Accra 100 kilometers across, even 30 kilometers across, and you're thinking, we need to do a lot more. There are things that need to be done. And those are the germane bread and butter conversations that we should be having. But now, in the last 3 or 4 days, the conversations about who founded what. You know, there are people who have never seen roads, asphaltic overlays before. Now they are seeing it for the last 70, 80 years. You understand? They are seeing it for the first time. They will appreciate it. There are people too who would appreciate the fact that Nkrumah did the Tema motorway. Every single individual who has become either head of state in this country would have certain significant things that we can point to. However, because of politics and expediency of it, all we do is that we do the absoluteness. Okay, this person did everything positive. This other person has done all the things that are not supposed to be done. And when we do that, that's when people take entrenched positions on things. So sometimes the objectivity is important. Nobody can take away from Kwame Nkrumah in terms of his contribution to the independence struggle in Ghana, even across the global black community. You understand? So you can't go anywhere and people who are conscious of our history as a black people will not speak about Kwame Nkrumah. But that is the conversation that we are having today, trying to debase all the contributions of persons who have contributed to the development of this country. And for me, I think that is not healthy, if you ask me.
Randy, briefly,
Yes.
briefly.
So we can move on.
You know, this is a fact that nationalist heroes like Mandela, even Ismail Haniyeh, who has just been assassinated by the Israeli security forces and so on, have been considered at one stage or the other as terrorists. That's a fact. But then don't you think that it would have been very strange for anybody in the anti-apartheid movement, in the League of Patriotic Citizens of South Africa, to have agreed with the USA and others that Nelson Mandela was a terrorist?
Of course, yeah.
Exactly. You understand? So it's not about being designated as a terrorist. If your enemy designates you as a terrorist, then, you know, there is cause to challenge the basis and so on. But I'm talking about Justice Edward Akufo-Addo declaring Obeche-Bilamte as a terrorist. Justice Akufo-Addo was not a CPP member. Justice Akufo-Addo belonged to the same camp as Obeche-Bilamte. And yet, in his view, Obeche-Bilamte was a terrorist.
Was it not because of the facts available to him and the evidence adduced in the course of the case?
No problem.
But I'm saying that might not have anything to do with his personal views. It's just about
what I'm saying
the
is
evidence.
that the designation of people as a terrorist,
yes,
as recounted by my brother here, my brother and comrade here,
yes,
is based on allegiances, is based on alliances, is based on ideology, and so on. But in this particular case, it cannot be said to be so. This is a judicial decision by somebody who politically and ideologically was aligned to Obeche-Bilamte. That's the point I'm making.
Okay.
Randy, I just wanted to make a point. You know, yes, a lot of these things happen at the height of the Cold War, right? Where there was almost like a split between the East, the so-called East and the West, right? Where now, at that time, you realize that there was a lot of propaganda as well. There was a lot of clamor to take control. This was the era of, trying to be a superpower and taking control, and even Africa became part of the pie for people to take certain portions of, right? And all of these things, as far as I'm concerned, contributed to maybe a certain orientation, maybe a mindset, and the happenings at the time, right? You cannot take, even like Kwesi said, you cannot take out the ideological considerations, whereby there was a left socialist or communist orientation, and you had a liberal capitalist movement as well that was trying to take control over the world and be world superpowers. And all of these things happened. Now today, as we speak, we have moved on from some of these, and there are still some of these remnants of these Cold War and ideological fights that are still happening. But as a people today, I believe strongly that we can take some experience from these things and move on and heal and become more patriotic. You understand what I'm saying? So it's become almost as if that if you belong to a certain mindset or opinion, then everything that has happened over the last 60 years or almost 70 years is negative. However, when it happens to other persons or it's been applied to other persons, then everybody thinks that, oh, those are positive things. I think that as humans, Nkrumah was a great leader. He did what he was supposed to do. There are certain things that, as far as I'm concerned, probably even if he ever had an opportunity, probably would not have done those things. And it applies to every single leader that we've had in this country. You understand? So I think that for us to move on as a people, there has to be some kind of healing process. People have to accept the fact that these things happen when it comes to nation building. That's why in other parts they even have hero holidays for veterans and people who have fought wars and everything, and they do that.
And when they do that, they don't go and take the pictures of something.
Exactly. Not like there are places where they have the unknown soldier as a symbol of
I'm not sure anybody will have a problem if we decided that, look, there are a lot of people who participated in the struggle, we need to have a Founders Day celebrated.
Yes.
I'm not sure people have a problem, but when you decide to use some particular photographs, then that becomes, I mean, everybody can tell the subtle rewriting of the history. Why do we always think that we are smarter than everybody else?
Randy, you see, I don't even want to dispute you on that score. But the point is that you can say it for both sides of this conversation. You understand? And that's why I'm saying that if you're not careful, you just take one entrenched view. There were times in this country where anybody that spoke about anything that had to do with the so-called UP tradition and everything, right? These are people who are even termed to be terrorists and were throwing bombs and all of those things. Then you have another school of thought that said these are people who try to oppress the people of this country, came out with an obnoxious law, which was the PDA and everything. So if you sit in a room, like we used to do debate in school, if you took me speaking for this side and took another person speaking for that side, we have arguments against.
I'll listen to the facts.
Against
I'll listen
each other
to the facts
all day.
And I'll express an opinion.
Exactly.
And largely, you might find that there's some level of stereotyping and all that. But I mean, I'm just saying that, look, even in looking for you see, there's this photograph. Anytime I see, from when we started this Founders Day, anytime I see that photograph, then the issue of the Big Six also comes to mind. And the declaration, the polo, so those people on that days, you could easily have played PR around it and made those people, for example, founders of Ghana. Because on the day that the declaration was being made, those were the people who flanked the man. It's that kind of thing. This one.
Yeah.
This one. It's that kind of, you can use this, whether it's for a currency or something, commemorative, a picture.
Yeah.
But it is the narrative that you put around it, which creates the problem. If everybody knows that, this was the people who flanked Nkrumah, their names are this, Welbeck, this, that, fine. But immediately you put a certain narration around it, which is not what it is, but is intended to have a certain effect. That's where the problem comes in. And then people would see that, you're just seeking solace in some historical fact in order to tell a certain story that you once said. That's most insincere. Anyway, we'll take a break. When we return, they say the reality is our economic situation. The finance minister has been speaking as government started town hall meetings. The maiden one was in Accra. So we'll look at that. Now, as they speak about this, the Institute of Statistical, Social, Economic and Research, ISE, is also speaking about the economy. And they also have some interesting things in there. They try to establish a correlation between statistical data and the reality. We'll be back shortly.
Pascal's showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased.
He said we use a Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind. Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Cal 360 did the one. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling to Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
In today's modern world, Stairs are a challenge, especially for our elderly and those with health concerns. Navigating them can be difficult and even dangerous, but there's a safer way to move vertically. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, your answer to a more accessible and secure vertical transportation. Our elevators and escalators, including top-of-the-line pneumatic vacuum elevators, Fuji elevators and escalators, offer a safer and more convenient alternative, eliminating the risks of stairs and enhancing accessibility for homes, businesses, and hospitals. Choose safety and convenience with Lifts and Elevators Limited Company. Elevate your spaces today. For more information, visit our website at www.elevatorsgh.org or call now on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, the elevator people.
Blast. Boom! Exclusively on Betway. Win up to 300% more when you play FlyX with Win Boost from Betway. Betway, get way more.
Now let me tell you why you should choose Safari Valley as your conference destination.
The new conference building combines modern amenities with the tranquility of nature, providing the perfect backdrop for your next seminar and corporate retreat.
The only conference destination with so many activities. You don't have to travel to visit your tennis club, the gym, or the stables. They have it all.
Enjoy this rooftop viewing deck, basking in the sunlight with the sight of wild animals roaming freely in their natural habitat.
At my break, I'm able to practice my putting.
It's a unique experience that sparks creativity and rejuvenates the mind.
Visit Safari Valley Eco Resort in Ghana, bringing you closer to nature.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone.
Lakwaha, and missing opportunity to be the luckiest. It's time to put some smile on your face. Still asking what luck means? At Luckiest, we believe it's more than just chance. It's joy waiting to happen.
Let's go.
Dial star 712 hash. Now password to tickets not as a group, individual and as a community. Now participating in the Luckiest from the 1st of July 2024. Grand draw near 30th November 2024. Luck is everywhere with the Luckiest. The Luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform and is not for persons below 18 years. Terms and conditions apply.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have Kwesi Pratt Jr. and Erica Mwako Chum. But I also, that could somewhat be big, but Betway's cash out be bigger. Betway is giving you more control over every thrilling bet you place. Enjoy the biggest and most reliable cash out in Ghana on Betway without any hassle. Sign up today at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. It's not for persons under 18 and is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more. And Blue Jeans energy drink has been on the Ghanaian market for over 20 years. We already know what it does for the body. It contains vitamins and nutrients. 28190055001000. All right, so government touts economic recovery, says despite challenges, the economy grows by $20 billion. Inflation drops from 54% in 2022 to 22% as of June 2024. And current economic hardship due to DDEP, forgive us, that's Adam. And then from page of Daily Graphic, economic growth favors the rich. ASET demands income redistribution. And there's a statement which has also been issued by the Pro Forum of the NDC, a group in the NDC, honored with this planned town hall meetings, the first edition taking place in Accra. Now, journalists and the public were given opportunity to also ask questions and seek clarifications from duty bearers, and is expected to be taken to all 16 regions of the country. The town hall meetings will focus on government's achievements within respective regions and dovetail international development. And the Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, said the size of the economy, despite the challenges, had grown by 20 billion under the current administration as of 2023. Comparing same with that of 2013, he said under Mohamed's administration, the size of the economy was pegged at 64 billion. However, this reduced to 56 billion in 2016. Dr. Adams said as of 2023, the size of the Ghanaian economy was pegged at 76 billion. So in nominal terms, the economy has grown by 20 billion under the Akufo-Addo government. And I love how the finance minister uses data. You see, he compares 2016 of the NDC to 2023 of the MPP. And then he looks at 2013 to 2016 of the NDC, and not look at 2009 to 2016. Although it's the same NDC, and he gives you a comparative period to do these things. So he said the government has taken tough economic decisions in the midst of global economic crisis occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war, and those decisions were beginning to yield positive results. He cited the DDEP, which saw 95% participation by local bondholders, while as one of the numerous tough decisions taken by government. And he says government recorded $3.4 billion trade surplus in 2023 as against $1.8 billion trade deficit under the Mahama government in 2016. On inflation, he said government's resilient policies and programs had led to a drastic reduction in inflation from 54% to 2022 to 22% as of June this year. And he says by the end of this year, the inflation will come down to 15%. And hopefully, if they're given the mandate in the elections, it will bring it down to single digits. And he attributed the surge in inflation to the global economic meltdown due to the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the COVID-19 pandemic, and not because of economic mismanagement. And in our development, he's apologized to Ghanaians for the hardship they're experiencing due to a domestic exchange program. And his apology, okay, this story says the apology comes after since Central MP Kennedy Japan advised the MPP members to admit their mistakes and apologize to Ghanaians. Similarly, Obuasi West MP Kweku Kwarteng recently suggested that the MPP acknowledge past and present failures to enable the party to break the eight. And he explained that the DDP was a requirement by the IMF, necessitating its implementation. According to him, it was never the government's intention to impose hardships on Ghanaians. He emphasized the importance of debt restructuring for the economy and expressed appreciation to Ghanaians for their support. We decided to restructure our debts because it was one of the requirements by the IMF. We started with a domestic debt exchange program, which was a very successful one, achieving 95% participation. On this note, I'd like to appeal to the people of Ghana to forgive us. Forgive us. It is never the intention of any government to impose hardships on its people. More so, the MPP government has demonstrated that we want to reduce the burden on the Ghanaian people. It was a necessary, very important decision at the time, that if we had avoided it, our economy would not recover as it has recovered today. The decision we made and all the support you gave us during the DDEP have contributed largely to the recovery our economy is seeing today. This is why I want to appeal to you to forgive us, but also to thank you on behalf of the President for the sacrifices, for the efforts that you all have made participating in a DDEP that saved our economy. All right. On the front page of a daily graphic, Emmanuel Bruce reports that the country's economic figures stand in sharp contrast with the daily economic hardships faced by citizens. The Institute of Statistical, Social, Economic and Research, ISE, has observed. It said although the country's total income distributed per person, also known as per capita income, had increased by $386 from $1,979 in 2016 to $2,365 in 2023, the Institute is off the view that widespread inequality remains. In a report after its assessment of the mid-year budget review, the Institute, which researches into social and economic issues, said in spite of the positive economic outlook, anecdotal evidence from studies such as the Afrobarometer surveys in the first quarter of the year suggested growing hardship due to increased food prices, increased transport fares, and rising fuel and cement prices. The Institute therefore recommended that while the government should continue to work towards accelerating economic growth, it should also implement better policies to redistribute income. Quote, in a market economy, as you grow, the rich gets richer and the poor gets poorer. So you need to find a way for the poor to also enjoy some of the gains. Professor Korte said that could be done through ways such as streamlining some of the indirect taxes paid by both the rich and the poor. We should subsidize the goods that the poor consume and reduce their tax burdens. There should also be more targeted programs for the poor. And he says that a year after implementing the IMF program, the country's macroeconomic indicators appear to be improving, with GDP growth rebounding to 2.9% in 2023. In the first quarter of 2024, the economy grew by 4.7% against a target of 3.1%, the highest growth since 2020. Inflation has also declined from a peak of 54.1% in December to 22.8% in July, although food inflation continues to be a major concern for the economy. So there was a disconnect between statistical progress and the reality on the ground, which raised questions about the true impact of economic growth on the lives of citizens, particularly in addressing youth unemployment and rising cost of living. So the positive GDP growth was good, but more needed to be done to deal with high food inflation, exchange rate volatilities, which translated into high cost of living. Quote, despite the growth rate, we are still not out of the woods due to issues of inflation, which is affecting prices on the market and people's livelihood. He also spoke about streamlining of taxes and also debt management. He spoke extensively about the debt and also monetary policy and what needs to be done. Now, I was telling you about a response. Okay, so I got this morning from my producer, and there is a statement dated August 7, that's today. Okay. To all major press houses, NDC Professionals Forum. And it says, we, the members of the NDC Professionals Forum, utterly reject the insincere and belated apology offered by the Minister of Finance, Mohamed Amin Anta. Okay, Dr. Mohamed Amin Anta, for the catastrophic debt exchange program, the tragic banking sector cleanup, and the colossal failed economic policies of the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia-led NPP government. These policies have brought unprecedented hardship to Ghanaians, and the apology is nothing but a desperate attempt to secure public sympathy and undeserved votes in the December 7 general elections. We note that the apology is meant to douse the current flame of anger ignited by the revelations in the Japadia document, which appears to be a stronger version of the Nostradamus prophecies. The document has exposed the government's deceitful and reckless handling of the economy, and the apology is a weak attempt to deflect attention from the damning revelations. In reality, the Japadia document served as a framework for the massive state capture of public resources, undue politicization, and corruption of institutions through appointments. This has led to a catastrophic debt exchange program that has wiped out the life savings of innocent Ghanaians, a tragic banking sector cleanup that has destroyed businesses and livelihoods, a colossal failure of flagship projects, such as planting for food and jobs, which has only served to enrich government officials and their chronic, a classic abuse and financial exploitation of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has further exacerbated the economic crisis. We demand more than empty apologies. We demand accountability, transparency, and a comprehensive overhaul of the government's economic policies. Minister Anta's apology is nothing but a feeble attempt to save face and salvage the government's started reputation. Ghanaians will not be fooled by this desperate attempt to manipulate public opinion. We will continue to hold this government accountable for their actions and ensure that they do not benefit politically from their own failures. And it's signed by Ambassador Sam Piyale, Global President, NDC Professionals Forum. Eric, government touts economy's recovery. Says despite challenges, the economy grows by 20 billion, inflation drops from 54 in 2022 to 22%. Economic hardship, current hardship due to DDEP, forgive us. ISA says economic growth favors the rich, the demand income redistribution, and they also talk about disconnect between statistical data and the reality on the ground. And the NDC Professionals Forum, they say that the apology is insincere.
Well, I mean, I didn't expect anything different from the NDC Professional Forum. Now, I mean, some of the things that they're talking about reminds me of trying to almost get plaudits from a rival. I mean, that's exactly what is expected of them. I think that when we have conversation around the economy, we have to stick to the basics and also stick to what the facts are. Now, what actually surprises me is that when we start touting some of these indicators and doing a comparison, then all of a sudden, a certain group of people say that, no, we shouldn't do that, and that we should actually use other considerations. But that cannot be economics. That would be something totally different. That would can be a social conversation somewhere, or people who are minded by discussing their own personal economic challenges. But when you're discussing economics like the way the finance minister was, then you have to stick to what the fundamentals are. And it's very clear that all the indicators are showing an economy that is on a rebound. Now, you cannot discuss anything to do with an economy without also looking at the environmental factors. And so, again, I find it interesting that anytime it comes to this conversation around the economy, our opponents say that, oh, let's discount all the various external factors and attribute the challenges to some incompetence or some mismanagement or whatever it is that they want us to believe. But then the facts do not point to that. And then when you go back to their own stewardship under their watch, then they start coming up with excuses why under their watch they actually took us to the IMF, and instead of even admitting to the Ghanaian people at the time that we're going to the IMF because of ABC, they actually said that they were going to the IMF for policy credibility of something of that sort. You know, so for me, I believe strongly that yes, the economy is on a rebound. Are we out of the woods yet? Of course not. Do we still have challenges? Is the 22%, 24% inflation rate too high? It's still high. But then you can also not discount the fact that we have moved from a certain extreme position to where we are actually making progress. Now, the finance minister spoke about the growth in GDP and how we've added to the GDP of this country over the last period, even in the midst of all the challenges that we are facing. And for me, I think that whilst government will even take some plaudits for that, we also have to commend the Ghanaian people, the Ghanaian entrepreneur, the Ghanaian farmer.
Government will take plaudits for what?
No, I mean for some of the improvements within the sector. I said, of course. I mean, the managers.
If you make the central bank print
Randy, can I
over 40 billion for you and send inflation to 54 and it drops to 22, why must I applaud?
No, but I'm saying that I was making a point. Okay. The point I was making is that we need to applaud the entrepreneurship, the ingenuity, the resilience, and then the productivity of the Ghanaian. And that we have a situation where we've gone through some of these challenges, and yet the Ghanaian people are resolute in how they go about their day-to-day activities. And that has contributed to the gains that we are making. Are we out of the woods yet? Of course not. Right? But can we have this conversation where it is devoid of some of these, if like parochial interests, and people make these things based on expediency? Now, we've come from a backdrop of an economy that was part of a global economy that was facing even global supply chain exigencies. Nobody can tell me that COVID did not impact negatively on Ghana as a country, and even any country at large. It has impacted several countries. As we speak, in the last year or two, the global economy was actually on the verge of a recession. And it's there for everybody to appreciate. But even in the midst of all of these things, public sector workers have still been paid. Agenda 111 is ongoing. Government's flagship policy of free SHS is still ongoing. All of these things are happening in the midst of the challenges that we are facing. And it's also not the case that government has not admitted that there are difficulties within the economy.
When you say this, you see, when I try to hear the finance minister say DDP was painful, we are sorry, forgive us. That is what has brought this thing here. And then in the same breath, I hear, despite the challenges, this is ongoing, that is ongoing, that is ongoing. You have come to put your hands in my pocket and my bag, and you've taken my hard-earned money that I saved from me, and you turn around to tell me that you've done something brilliant.
No, Randy, I was making the point.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I find that very insulting. I'm sorry, but I find it insulting that if you ask me to come and participate in ESLA bonds, and you ask me to participate in, is it Dachi, the one that was they used the GAD fund for? Yes. And you ask me to participate in cocoa bonds. And as we speak today, you are still collecting ESLA levy. You are still collecting GAD fund levy. you are still selling cocoa, and you ask me, the person who brought my savings, my hard-earned savings, whether I'm still working or a pensioner, to come and buy these things, and then you come back and tell me that you have to give me a haircut on my savings, and you also need to change even the interest rates and the period for payment of those things, and that is what enables you to drop the country's debt up to a certain point. And then you turn around and tell me that, oh, despite all these challenges, public sector workers have been paid, free SHS is on, this is on. But all those things that you're doing, you're doing so as a result of how you were reckless with your debt management, for which reason you have come to rob me of my personal savings.
No, Randy, you can have a personal opinion on how these things work.
It's a fact. It's not a personal opinion. It's a fact.
No, but you're entitled to that.
You cannot. No, I'm saying that you cannot. If you owe me, you owe me. You cannot tell me that you'll be unable to pay me. I should slash how much you owe me by a certain percentage, and you turn around and tell me that you're doing well for me. How can you say that?
Okay, Randy. So, I mean, we can break it down to that point. We can simplify it to that point. But the point I was trying to make is that you have a situation where you are now grappling with certain key decisions that needs to be made. And the whole concept of governance is about making hard decisions. Now, do you...
I disagree.
No, I mean, yeah, it's the whole... That's my view. You know, I give you your view as well. So, right. And that as to how to be able to sustain the economy where you don't have a total shutdown of an economy, certain hard decisions have to be made. And I admit that any haircut, even if it's 1% haircut, is painful because people have aspirations, people have plans, people have all of these things. But in the larger context of an economy that was on the verge of challenges.
As a result of what?
No, but you can attribute it. And that's what I'm saying, that you cannot have this conversation without also being very, if you like, practical in the challenges that we face as an economy based on some of these environmental factors. And those are there for everybody to appreciate. Because prior to the issue of COVID and the issue of these challenges within the global economy, right? The economy is on record to have been growing by an average of 7% over that period. And so those gains are there. Those are things that are there for everybody to appreciate. And that's what I'm saying, that we cannot pick and choose. That's my view. We cannot pick and choose what we want to understand as basic economics, and then we sort of almost find a way of sort of bringing in emotional conversation or social conversation.
What is emotional?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
What is emotional about?
Personal, no,
what is emotional
Randy,
about?
Randy,
let me, yeah, but when you say emotion, I feel insulted.
Oh, come on,
Randy. No, to be very honest with you.
I'm not saying that.
Maybe you didn't intend to.
No.
But to be honest with you, for anybody who's watching, who has suffered under the DDEP, and they express that, and you describe it as emotional.
No, I'm not doing
that. That's extremely insulting.
Randy, you're being unfair to me. I didn't.
No, I'm not. You said it.
No, I'm saying that. I'm saying that. Once we're discussing these things, right, within a certain context, people have personal experiences, personal challenges because of their, if you like, exposure to the economy. So you're speaking about DDP, bonds and all of that. They're exposed. They are impacted personally, right? And so for persons like that, it doesn't matter what you say. You're not really trying to even justify why they should go through those challenges, because as far as they're concerned, those were almost like an ironclad investment that they did. But I'm making the point that whilst we are having this conversation, also have a conversation around the fact that decisions have to be made. Governments are basically judged by decisions that they make. So you live and die by the decisions that you make. So if you're grappling or you're facing a situation where your debt payments are not sustainable, you're unable to do that, and you have a basket of things that you're supposed to.
But how? Why did you get there? That's my point.
But we can have.
Because I read a line where the finance minister is reported as saying that. Here it says what?
During the era of COVID.
Yes.
We are an economy. We're a small economy by global standards. We're an economy that has been dependent on these exigencies over a period. So even basic things like we would use for even productivity locally, we're having challenges. You had a huge surge in terms of prices when it came to freight and supply chain conversations, because all these entities now started focusing, going internal. I mean,
in 2022.
Looking internally. But these are ripple
effects. Are you referring to 2022?
No, but Randy, yes. You see, they are ripple effects. So something happens in economics. Something happens in 2020, right? And for some reason you have some level of shock absorbers to be able to deal with that. The ripple effect would happen in 2021, 2022. My view,
Barry, again, this is not correct.
No, but is it? But
the Bank of Ghana has been stopped. The Bank of Ghana has been stopped by the IMF from doing the things it did in 2022.
Randy, and that's what I'm saying, that you can.
And that's why we're seeing what we are seeing. You see, sometimes people even forget that we're on an IMF program until 2019. So sometimes when we even talk about our performance around that time, look at when we exited the IMF program, what our performance was before even COVID came, and when we were on the IMF program, and then look at what it was before we joined this new IMF program, and now.
Yeah, but Randy, I think that, so if you're even making that point, the point that I'm trying to make is that we cannot move away from these indicators. We cannot move away from the fact that at 6 months, a year down ago, we had these major challenges. We had issues with grappling with our debt payment. We had to restructure. These are hard, painful decisions that had to be taken. We had a surge in inflation. We did that. Skyrocketing food prices and everything. Then, yesterday, finance minister is saying that, okay, looking at juxtaposing that over a year ago, 2 years ago, these were the things that was happening. As we speak, it's looking like the economy is on a rebound. However, he admits that we are not out of the woods yet. I honestly don't understand how, I mean, anybody would actually have issues with a finance minister that's admitting that, yes, we have had challenges.
A finance minister, I will have a problem with a finance minister who says that
have been impacted negatively.
Inflation went that way, not as a result of economic mismanagement, but as a result of Russia, Ukraine, and COVID.
No, but
that would be dishonest.
No, but are you saying that? Are you saying that we were not impacted negatively by these?
I haven't said that. I'm telling you that the 2022 inflation was largely on the back of all those monies that the central bank printed. And I'm surprised that anybody who reads the data, who gets all the information from the Bank of Ghana itself, our budget statement, everything, will be able to say that what happened in 2022 has nothing to do with economic mismanagement. How can you say that?
Right,
how can you say that?
So, but like I've made a point that, I mean, and even if you don't want to even stop with the finance minister, the president himself has on occasion admitted that we are going through challenges. We had to make certain hard decisions, and that was important that we are resolute in our ambition to develop as a country, and certain considerations are being made. However, you cannot allow the entire system to come to a halt. So government was committed to ensuring that certain fundamental flagship policies will still continue, and that would in a way, will stimulate growth, would engender productivity so that economy will bounce back. Now, we also have a situation where your economy is predominantly almost informal, right? And I've always said that even whilst we tout all of these indicators and all of those things, it's probably because of the very informal nature of an economy that we probably never even got to a point where there was a total shutdown. Because people have ways, Ghanaians are ingenious, they're entrepreneurial, they find ways of actually making sure that there's still productivity and they're contributing their quota to the economy. And I believe that based on all the indicators, like the finance minister said, the economy is on the rebound. Let's find ways of actually making sure that, yes, people who are still struggling because, or who have been impacted by these decisions that have been made, will come out of that. Now, I mean, there's this whole conversation around even the gains that have been made does not reflect, and that it's probably skewed towards a certain group of people. And I mean, even though I have a capitalist orientation, I believe that, yes, I mean, if that is skewed to a certain degree, in terms of policy change in policy positions, We need to find some kind of coherence so that we can still have like the thriving middle class come up to a certain point so that it would engender the development that we want. I have no challenge with those assertions, right? But is it the case that over the period some improvement has happened? Of course, yes. I mean, in the last few weeks, there was this conversation about skyrocketing food prices and all of that. And then all of a sudden, there are places where you go and there's actually glut. There's overproduction because, I mean, some of these products are in season, right? And that's why, like Randy, you and I, we always like this conversation of how do we even have a system in place where this perennial inflation, right, becomes a thing of the past. So in one breath, maybe at a certain point in time, you can find tomatoes, you go to the market, they'll even beat you with it, right? In other times, just by the seasonality of these things, right, you go and then it's not there and it becomes expensive, right? So that we can have the practical conversation about adding value and storage and all of those things. For me, that's the kind of conversation that I like, right? So that, I mean, we can't be having the same conversations over and over and over again. But for me as an economy, it's looking up, are we out of the woods here? It's definitely not. But we can make certain pronouncements that we have Ghanaians who are resolute, who are contributing to the development of this country. And let's push, because sometimes, even in classic economies, they actually say perception is everything. You understand what I'm saying? So you can actually use perception, right, to actually derail gains that have been made by an economy. And I think that we all have to be minded by that.
Okay. So one of our other viewers says that, Randy, in addition to all you're saying, as well as proposing to take 37% of the principal of Eurobond holders, as well as 37% of accrued interest, and extending the maturity to 2037, 2038, and following that, thumping your chest and saying you're a good negotiator, when pensioners are going to lose their life savings and we're not given the chance to defend their investments, that's cold.
Well, Randy, I like to start from a very simple analysis. I hear our government tell us all the time that there was a global crisis that affected everybody.
Yes.
That's what they tell us. Global crisis affected everybody. And yet they go to other countries to seek help. If the global crisis really affected everybody, those countries you go to seek help, did the global crisis affect them? I mean, I can't understand. There's a global crisis which affects everybody, and yet others are doing well. Others are doing so well that they can help you out of your problem. Something that I've struggled to understand, and I've not been able to understand up to today.
Is what?
This thing that the COVID and so on affected everybody. And yet they are going to other persons, other countries, in order to seek help.
Because we were worse off.
So then it didn't affect everybody with equal measure?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It happened, but we were worse off.
Okay.
Yeah, people were prepared. Others weren't prepared.
Yeah. Not just prepared. People handled it better.
True.
Than
To a point, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, to a point.
So that is why we go to them for assistance. So I think we should stop saying that thing about...
just a quick point before you continue.
Can I finish?
Okay, sure. All right.
Please, can I finish? So that's one point. And then you see, sometimes when our leaders are talking to us, I think they assume that really, I mean, we are dummies. Because listen to the finance minister talk. He says inflation has been reduced to 20-something% and so. Fine. What is inflation? Inflation is the rate at which prices rise. The rate at which prices rise. So if inflation is reduced to 20-something%, it simply means that it is continuing to rise. So that when KK moves from 5 cities, from 50 pesos to 5 cities, and inflation is rising at 22%, it means that the price of KK is still going to go up.
When petroleum prices are increased by over 300% over a period, and the rate of inflation is still 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, whatever it is, it means that the price of petroleum products are still going to go up. Okay? So what we are being told is that, hey, all your prices are still going to go up. The prices are going to go up. It's going to kick into your pocket. Your life is still going to be miserable. That's direct statement from the finance minister. Now, the other thing that...
I was it at 22%.
If you allow me.
Yes, the increment. All I'm saying is that your price is increasing by 22%. It's way better than by 50%.
But it's still increasing. But hold on, I'm going to make another point which will buttress what I'm saying.
All right.
Why? The other question is that who took inflation to 50-something%? You come, through your mismanagement, you've taken inflation to 50-something%. You've reduced it to 22, which is still higher than the inflation rate you met in office. And you say you are doing well. How can you say that? How can you say that? How can anybody say that? You came and took inflation, bam, to 50-something%. And then you claim that you have reduced it to 22%. Why should we be clapping for you?
Because we're seeing a downward trend.
You created the problem in the first place.
Yes.
You haven't completely solved the problem you created.
He says, I'm solving. This is the evidence. We're going down. So he says, if you vote for me December 7, it will become single digit. We'll end the year 15, and the following year we'll do single digits.
Following year, will they be in office?
Yeah, he says if they win the election, then they'll do single digits. Yes, that's what he said.
If they win. If they win. But see, this is the situation. The current problems that our government claims to be solving are problems that the government itself created. No doubt at all. They themselves created, these problems which they claim, to be resolving. Now, for me, there are other things too which are very important. Look, until recently, we're not paying all our debts. Not just that, we're not also paying the interest on the debts. So, if at the time when you are not paying your debts, you are not paying the interest on your debt and so on, your economic indicators improve. How can you be clapping for yourself? The question we have to be asking is that when we start paying these debts, when we start meeting our obligations, what will the figures be when we start meeting these obligations? That is the critical question. The question is not what the figures are today, because there are many factors influencing the figures today. So we should be asking ourselves what will happen when we really start meeting all of our obligations. Then the other question that for me is important is that what are the fundamental problems of the Ghanaian economy, which is leading to high inflation, which is leading to slow growth, and so on? What are the fundamental problems? And if we identify the fundamental problems, then we can come to talk about whether the solutions we are putting forward today are going to work or they are not going to work. The major fundamental problem of the Ghanaian economy is that it's a neo-colonial economy. It's an economy in which the people of Ghana have no control over their resources. It's an economy in which the people of Ghana do not exploit their resources for their own benefit. It's an economy which has been hijacked in order to make others in the colonial metropolis and elsewhere more comfortable and our people discomfortable. That is the problem. So what are the measures which are being taken in order to address the state of the Ghanaian economy? I don't see any. So we cannot be talking about solutions. We cannot be applauding ourselves today because we are not tackling the fundamental problems of the Ghanaian economy. Now, the Minister of Finance says that we should forgive them. We should forgive them. The ground is hard, the economy is tough, and so on. And that we should forgive them. What does that mean? Forgive them? Now, all of a sudden, we are in some moral class, of forgiveness of sins and so on. What does that mean?
Because are we not the same people who say that government officials don't show remorse? They are not apologizing to us for all what they've done to us. They are not showing remorse. They are being cocky and arrogant even after doing all these things to us. Now, they show remorse and they apologize and we say no.
I have never asked any government official to show remorse and apologize. Okay. I have never done that. Because if we're in the business of apologizing and accepting apologies and so on, why did we then vote Mahama out? We could have forgiven him. We could have forgiven Mahama. If we forgive governments which come and mess us up, we could have forgiven everybody. It's not about forgiveness. If you come and you are incapable of performing the task and achieving results for us, we show you the door. You move out. It's not about forgiveness. You remember 2008 it was. I think it was 2008. When leading members of the government went around the country kneeling down before fishermen and begging and so on. What happened? They said no, they kicked them out. So it's not about begging for forgiveness. It's about developing the capacity to solve the concrete problems that confront our people and achieving results. It's not about forgiveness at all. That plea for forgiveness, please put it somewhere else. We are not in a monastery. We are in a country. We are in a country, people expect results. Do you know what is happening to people? You know what is happening to people? You find a family, a man and his wife, with 3 children. His monthly income is 500 cedis. That's a death sentence. And then you sentence somebody like that to death through your incompetence and mismanagement and so on, and you turn around and say, please forgive me for sentencing you to death. What do you mean? Also, that statement by the finance minister, we should throw it away completely. It's not worthy of consideration.
Why?
Randy, you saw those pensioners who trooped to the Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
Did you hear them?
Yes.
Some of them were 80 years old, some of them were 75 years old and so on. They've reached a period in their life when they need money to stay alive, to buy drugs, to pay for hospital and so on. You deprive them. It's a sentence of death. So, and then you turn around and say you should be forgiven. Forgiving for what?
So the point the finance minister is making is that, but for these tough, difficult decisions, which has led to all the discomfort and problems and all that, there was no way this economy could rebound.
Has the economy rebound? That's the point I'm making.
No, it's
First of all, I'm saying that the economy has not rebounded. No. The economy has not turned any corner. Secondly, when you talk about the difficult situation and so on, it is self-imposed. Randy, it is self-imposed. It is the managers of the economy who impose these conditions on us. You have been talking about the Bank of Ghana and how much money it printed, leading to massive inflation. That is self-imposed.
Yeah.
That is self-imposed. If you ask the Bank of Ghana, against all the rules, against the regulations and so on, to print so much money and pump it into the economy,
worst part is that
what do you expect?
Whilst you are printing that, then you hold a press conference on monetary policy, whatever, and tell us how easing down on your strategies will ease the thing down, inflationary pressures and all that. You were not telling us that this was how much money you were printing into the system.
Innocent question. Okay. There's something which has been flying on social media about His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, saying that he was studying the economy over the last 7 years, and that if given the nod, he would now come and repair the economy. Unfortunately, it's missing from the net. Somebody has taken it down. You can't find it anywhere. Did he say that?
But then, because I don't understand this question. I mean, he's saying that he said something that is...
It says he saw a publication.
He saw a publication.
He's asking whether it is correct, because he can't find it any longer.
No, but I mean, the vice president, who is also the flag bearer of the MPP, is going around the country selling his message and telling the people of this country what he would do when given an opportunity to run this country. It's very clear that he holds his personal views on how these things should be managed, and he has espoused these things. Fortunately for us, in less than 2 weeks, the MPP would launch its manifesto on the 18th of August. And the good people of this country would get an opportunity to appreciate the vision that the Vice President holds for this country. And these things, we would be able to come back here and debate these things. I mean, for me, I feel that, I mean, when it comes to conversations around an economy, like giving my orientation on other things, you can always hold a view. There are people who are fiscal conservatives, there are others who hold certain conversation, because he feels that the economy is like you call it the colonial, the neo-colonial economy, and others call it different things in terms of how we can develop as a country. I mean, there's been extreme left-wing policy positions that have been taken by certain people in the communist socialism. Some have gone to very liberal capitalist orientation and all of that. And once you start having this conversation, even in terms of economic ideologies and everything, the verdict is out there. Some work, some don't work. Some have found a hybrid system in the middle ground to make a country progress, right? And the Vice President, who is also a flag bearer, has espoused some of these things. And he believes that once we reset, we have these considerations. He's talking about a new tax policy, for example. It would reset the economy. He has his position on job creation, making sure that we move away from what we have done previously to now take advantage of the digitalization regime and look at creating jobs in the AI space and digitalization, technology. The government itself has undertaken policy changes when it comes to CT, VET, and all of that. So that's the Vice President's position on the matter when it comes to the economy. And so we can only build on what has happened in the past, right? And I believe that come like 18th of August, some of these broad policy positions will come out. And like we've always said, he's focused on engendering bold solutions for our future. Some of this probably will be a clear departure from what has happened in the past. But we have to give him that, because that is his prerogative, right? And the people of this country would have to judge him based on these vision and policy positions that he espouses.
Are you confirming that he said that?
No, that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen what he's talking about. But I'm saying that if he says that he's taking a cursory look at or observe the economy, and he has a first-hand idea of what has transpired over the last 7 years, I haven't seen what he's referring to. But I'm saying that maybe it's even a bit preemptive to do that now, because on the 18th of August, it will be very clear what the Vice President, the flag bearer of the MPP, has in terms of his policy positions on various sectors of the economy. And then we can have an opportunity to now debate these things.
You know, Randy, I feel actually compelled to congratulate my brother Eric.
For what?
He's excellent at dodging questions. He just dodged the question.
How did I?
It's a very simple question.
How did I dodge the question?
Did the Vice President say that or not?
Who doesn't dodge a bullet?
Eric, I really admire you. I
really admire
your ability to dodge the question.
How did I dodge the question?
Patronize you.
I know. I mean, that's very unfair.
Eric, how can
that's very unfair. I mean, how would
how can I patronize?
How did I dodge the question? I didn't see it. I haven't seen it. But I'm saying.
So say that. Since I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
but all this thing about August 18 and so on and so.
It means that just in case something like that was said, this will be the context within which it was said. I've summarized his answer for you.
Congratulations, my brother. I have nothing more to say.
You have nothing more to say. Anyway, let me just quickly do this. Mr. Anthony Dabi, I'm told that you're 91 today. 91 today. And today significantly marks your 51st year at the bar.
Wow.
So 51 years of being a lawyer. And it's actually 1091 today, Mr. Anthony Dabi. Today is your birthday. So happy birthday to you, Daddy Anthony Dabi, at 91 and 51 years at the bar. We celebrate you, and happy 91st birthday to you. And we know that by the mercy and favor of God, you continue to work stronger and enjoy good health, and of course continue to provide good counsel for all who have the benefit of meeting up with you. So happy 91st birthday to you, Mr. Anthony Dabi. I'm told that is also the birthday of the Minister for Works and Housing, an MP for Fwasi, IRB, the Honorable Kojo Nkrumah. So that today is his birthday too. So happy birthday to you. I hope that I got that right. Now, Madam Florence Mausi Doche of Pando Misaho Montessori School, it's your birthday, so happy birthday to you. From Pastor James, Rose and Yvette, so happy birthday to you, Florence Mausi Doche, who's the proprietress of Misaho Montessori School at Pando. Okay. So, gentlemen, we'll leave it here. The way Kwesi has been mesmerized by Eric.
Eric has been extraordinary. He's been fantastic today. I mean, really extraordinary. Oh, come on, Kwesi. Why is true, Eric? How many people could have done what you did?
What did I do?
What? The way you answered this simple question. God damn it. Charlie?
So on behalf of Kwesi Pratt, kudos.
I don't know if
hello, Jela guy. All right, so that'll be it. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Randy.
Up next will be GMG Trends.
Pascal's showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that the wells can store many, many messages. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded your contact center yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
Ama, nansi mi cheno wo bin enko ye kwao. Ama ma ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nansi me hu se me nyo basi makura. Ama me kunu ni me into kwankwa. Oh you right. Eni mo ko. Give us GC mixture and any capsules. Aye num boom. En ho asem na mo kana. E boa emma ene meme nyina. Ne ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye be masima. Ya, we be bwanku ama ne giant sa wo de hye ne botum na wanyinya na nim tisese ne oyi chokwa. GC mixture and then a capsule.
A pin for a batter, one more menu for one and Quada when you feel to me.
Here is to the friends who took the chance with no regrets. Investors no more hated fortune. To the health workers who diagnosed blacks every move. And then to the hard guy who couldn't hold his emotions. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hand-earned stitches into a bundle of joy. And now, here is to you,
Your next big win is right here. From 1st July 2024, dial *712# and Coswato tickets as a group individual to win in the community draw or the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with *712#.
Created by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Right, welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV. And it's time to check out what is trending on social media with Mr. Krekudasu.
Oh, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Trust your word. Look, the share to the view. Anyway.
The dividends of marriage.
Oh, okay. Okay. So. Anyway, Doc. Yesterday there was a. Wow, Mrs. Mrs. Abe, please, good morning. Mrs. Okrekudasu, I hope you are listening. And watch it. I know someone who cut this one that we're showing to very necessary. Anyway, Doc, the finance minister.
You have to stimulate and engender it.
Wow. Stimulate
and engender.
On that note, let me do my The finance minister yesterday at the regional town hall meeting and exhibition that was done here in Accra. Doc, the finance minister has apologized. He said really beg all the suffering way the domestic debt exchange program has brought to Ghanaians. He's apologizing. He beg, like, make we take normal like that. Like, they will work on things. People say, what's. Finance minister, not be today. They should have been done. Apologize for us a long time, but apology safe. It hasn't changed anything. So let's take a look at some of the comments on X this morning about that statement by the finance minister. Well, so there he is. Mohammed Amin Adams is the finance minister. This one says, okay, so it says that if they stop looting and enriching themselves, maybe a hardship may be completely stopped, but will be limited, and we will all be happy. The best apology is treating the people with respect and working with them, not to enrich yourselves. Okay, this one says, he's not the one to be asking Ghanaians for forgiveness. And I've been thinking, he's the one in charge of how many? Anyway, this one says, does he really know what he's saying? Just talking, no solutions or no results. If we forgive you, Seth, will the economy rise again, or fuel cost cement will reduce? Charlie, man make hot from January to now. Man, the hunt jobs are no work. Charlie, the guy talking emotions all for inside. This one says, why is it that only the people that serve but not government officials? So can't the government also do something to reduce its expensive lifestyle? So, Doc, apology accepted.
From me.
Oh, okay. So people who share their thoughts on X, some, but have you accepted it?
I think it's some way. I was going to accept it, and I saw a line where it says that the inflation is not due to mismanagement, but it was due to Russia, Ukraine, and COVID. Oh. That's when I
so those are not good things.
No, that's when I dropped the apology.
The acceptance to the apology.
You make Bank of Ghana print money for you and you take inflation to 54%. You are telling me it's Russia, Ukraine, and COVID. I can take everything, but not a position that makes me feel stupid. You don't do that. So that takes away a certain level of insincerity in your apology.
Yeah.
You can't apologize to me in one breath and then the other breath, you're actually insulting my intelligence. You don't do that.
Yeah. We are not the ones. Oh, so finance minister has been in the trends on X this morning, but also, Doc.
Look, all over the world, governments are taking responsibility. You think that in America they do not know about COVID? In England they don't know about COVID.
Yeah.
In all those other countries they don't know about COVID.
Sorry. the apology at this point? I don't know.
No, there's not. For me, there are people. I mean, if you have done wrong, and it is only right and appropriate for you to apologize for your wrong, and we move on. But when you apologize and in the same breath, you are sort of justifying your actions.
The action. True.
And the basis for your justification, in my view, maybe the others, in my view, I find insulting, then it becomes difficult for me to take.
Apology. Well, so that's also going on. Let's go to the UK because for a couple of days now, about 6-7 days now, there's been some riots in the UK after an incident where it's reported that a 17-year-old boy stabbed 3 young girls to death, and it's caused a lot of uproar from the white British citizens, and from yesterday, and the misinformation has been reported that he's Muslim, and all of those things have caused people to attack Muslim shops. Yesterday there was a hotel Holiday Inn. It was attacked where people are seeking asylum. It's been spread actually across the UK, in Belfast, in Ireland. It's happening there in other parts like Liverpool, in London, Manchester, in Stoke-on-Trent. Yeah, all of those places have experienced this, and it's crazy, dog, Charlie.
Stabbing has been a big problem.
Yeah.
In the UK, especially in London, for some time now. Yeah, I know because it is not a gun thing, so people don't really, but stabbing has been a big problem for some time now. I know at least in the last 2 years of some 3 or 4 young Ghanaians who had died through. I think that one of them, a young lady, it happened in Croydon sometime last year.
I think I remember that story. Yeah.
So it's a problem. It's a worry there. It's a worry.
Yeah, and some videos popped up on socials where Africans were saying that they cannot even step out because if they step out, they are being attacked by some of these people. And some of a group called the Muslim Defense League are also trying to defend themselves. So it's become something like that. So in like the hot spots, as we see here, where the asylum seekers hall in Aldershot, in Tamworth, Manvers, all of these places, the riots are going on there. It's a really, really, really sad thing, Charlie. We just have to be careful.
See the number of young people.
Yeah, and this was in Belfast actually, where young people went into a Muslim shop, trying to destroy the shop. And look at them. Only 15 boy.
The stereotyping is difficult.
It's crazy. Crazy. Anyway, Doc, so that'll be it for the morning. Quick one as we wrap it up. And over the weekend, I was with my Absu brother. I didn't go to St. Augustine's, but be like, if I born my kid for pass somewhere like that.
I don't understand you.
Over the weekend, I was with Absu 2004 group as they did some stuff for their school, and it was nice.
So because of that, you would love your kids to attend St. Augustine's?
Oh, what could be on your bad? What could be on your bad?
Okay, you don't mind your, you don't.
Let me leave here. I'm so for shouts to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my friends in the UK, child, be careful. Be careful.
Okay.
Just be careful.
I'd like to say a big good morning and thank you to some friends of mine, Uncle Steve Tema, and of course Eben of Vanity. Do you know Vanity nightclub? Okay. At
Osu.
Yes.
Vanity.
The owner is called Eben.
Maybe now we will go there.
Okay. Oh no, me. I don't.
No, not
I don't
you.
do nightclubs.
Not you. I have some people who would want to. Yeah.
We had a great time this weekend. So Eben and Uncle Steve and everybody.
We had a very good time.
They really gave me a good time.
Atada.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I also went to Takade this weekend. I mean last weekend.
Okay.
Cape and Tade.
That's where you went to become a St. Augustine specialist.
Hey, shout out to my brother Dava. So Those who want to go to the vanity, you know, we'll link up after the show. Doc, I mean we are all greeting.
Oh, you want to go to a nightclub in Ghana?
Okay. So we are greeting.
Okay. All right. Okay. You're free. Okay. You are free to go.
I'm free to go there.
I mean, you are discharged.
Okay, Doc.
Anyway, up next, Metro Sports.